from the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Outdoor Oklahoma.
Well, hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead, and today I'm joined by my good friend and co-worker at the Wildlife Department, David Sutherland.
Thanks for having me, Todd.
Now, your job at the Wildlife Department is as our IT supervisor. Tell us a little bit about what that involves.
Well, in addition to providing technical support for our whole agency, my particular group of people, we provide access to our sportsmen for controlled hunts, for the online check station, and probably the one they use the most is purchasing their license online.
There you go. Well, we're all very thankful that you know a thing or two about computers.
I do.
And what I have come to find out is that David actually also knows a thing or two about fly fishing, and that really has become one of your biggest passions in life.
Yes, it is.
Now, can you remember the very first time you went?
I can. I was 12 years old. I had two heroes in life. One was John Wayne, the other was my dad. And my dad had this fly rod. He took me out in the backyard and he showed me how to cast, and I've been hooked ever since.
Well, that's great. I wouldn't have been surprised if you said John Wayne taught you too. But well, you know, you mentioned your dad showing you how to cast, and probably with fly fishing, maybe more so than with many other outdoor pursuits, it's vital that somebody show you the mechanics before you develop any bad habits.
Absolutely. It's the same as if you're shooting your shotgun. You know, you want to learn to follow through and lead your target so that you can always be on track when you're out in the field. Same thing with fly fishing. You have mechanics that you learn for casting. If you want to deliver that fly where you need it to be, you have to practice it.
That's great. Well, you know, and we kind of call that around our office a mentor, being a mentor to somebody. And we've said many times that that's a vital part of passing on the tradition to the next generation, is being willing to be a mentor to somebody. Today we're going to follow a story that is, well, a mentoring story, but it's not your traditional story of maybe, say, a father and son. This story is going to involve two grown men that met at church. One has been fly fishing for quite a while, Mr. Sam Stroder, and he developed a friendship with Jeff Goodwin that he thought, hey, Jeff, have you ever thought about fly fishing? And lo and behold, you know, they developed this teacher and student relationship, and it's quite interesting and unique. And I hope you enjoy getting to know Jeff and Sam, and then after a little bit, we're going to come back and maybe get a few fly fishing tips.
Sounds good.
All right, good.
All right, thanks. All right, bye.
What'd Sam say?
Sam said possibly a beadhead nymph. So we'll see what we got.
I have no idea how to get these.
I'll help you in just a second. I don't have a very good collection of flies yet, but I'm working on it. That's what I ask for Christmas now all the time, is people just go out and give me flies of any kind. All right, we're all rigged up. You ready to hike down there and see what we can do? Yep. All right.
I had a friend that I met at church. His name's Sam Stroder, and he was a big fly fisherman and always talked about fly fishing a lot, and really kind of wanted to encourage me to get involved in fly fishing and doing that, but fly fishing always looked pretty complicated.
I was with some friends from church, and we just kind of for an outdoor trip went camping up in Colorado and went fishing. Fishing was spinning gear and power bait and the more conventional worms and the like. And I saw some guys fly fishing, and I thought, that looks neat.
I've got some salmon egg patterns if y'all want to put those on. This is one of those, not a regular bluegill, this is one of those advertised ones. Pretty fish.
And I stewed on that a little bit, but I didn't want to let that enthusiasm or interest wane too quick. And then I went on up, linked up with the guy, didn't know anything about it other than looking up a phone number in the book, and actually got extremely lucky and caught a 28.5-inch rainbow trout. So I was, and I've been fly fishing ever since.
One evening he invited our family over to his house for dinner, and we all enjoyed the dinner, and then he grabbed his fly rod and took me and my son out to a little pond out in that area, and just kind of introduced me to fly fishing, kind of showed me the mechanics and how to use everything. I had a gift card that was generously given to me. I was able to take that just the very next day and go buy me a beginner's fly rod kit and started a whole new adventure.
It's a lot of fun to introduce people to, well, anything that you like, right? I mean, if you enjoy it, then you want to share it with folks.
Pretty complicated to learn all the knots and all the flies and lures and techniques, and I'm still definitely learning, but it's something I enjoy, have a great time doing.
There's a couple of species that God gives us for learning to fish. For cold water, it's the brook trout, because they'll bite anything, and you don't have to be too picky in your presentation. For warm water, it's these sunfish, right? You can throw anything out there, and a sunfish will bite it. So we can get this up, kill him. There we go. There you go. Now you gotta kiss him.
Fly fishing to me seems to have a lot more technique to it, a lot more parts. It gets a little bit more involved, and so it became more of a hobby than just recreation.
So, when you're reeling in, there you go. Let me set this second for you one thing. When everybody does it, I did it too. When you come back, let it lay all the way behind you. You're starting forward right now. Let it kind of load. Wait till it goes all the way back. See what I'm saying? Don't start forward till it lays out, and then it won't tangle on you, and it'll go a lot further out there. But I have to watch it behind me a lot of times.
Fly fishing is kind of a private thing, right? So you don't really interject yourself into other people's business unless they're interested. But you can kind of see other people fishing, and if they were interested, or if you were kind of expressed an interest if they were fly fishing, and it was probably pretty obvious that I was a beginner. And I can remember one gentleman in particular, I was waving a lot of line in the air, and he said, you don't have to wave that much line. Let a lot of it just hold in your hand till you get that motion going, and then you can let that line out when you're ready in lieu of trying to flop it all around. And that little bit of advice, I remember, helped me immensely on distance. So you pick up pointers.
I teach school here in Edmond, Oklahoma. I've been teaching for 23 years. I teach 8th grade United States history. Teaching is a calling, and I love my job. I love to teach, but there is a lot of stress to that, and that's one of the reasons I love this particular City Park pond. It's pretty much halfway between where I work and my home, and so it's easy for me to stop here, maybe just for a few minutes at the end of a day or at the end of the week. Catch anything?
When you see them pass that on to others, in this case Jeff to his son, it validates the investment.
Well, David, you know, I can guarantee that Jeff, for the rest of his life, will be thankful for somebody like Sam showing him the ropes and getting him started.
Everybody needs a guy like that in their life to help them out.
Well, that's right, and I'm hoping you're that guy for me today, okay?
All right.
You've gone through the store here and picked out a few of what you consider the basics, the fundamentals of getting started fly fishing.
Absolutely.
So kind of, I literally know nothing, so kind of tell me what I need to know.
Well, obviously you need a rod. You know, everybody has to start with a fly rod, and they come in various lengths and what we call weights. That's not important for you to know right now.
Okay.
But, then you have to attach to your rod, you have to have a fly reel. What makes fly fishing different from what people normally think of as fishing is when you're out catching that bass, you're throwing a lure, so you're casting a weight out. With the fly rod, you're actually casting the line. The line is where your weight is. There's hardly any weight in your fly. But you start with a reel. The reels are usually made with a large arbor so that they can hold a lot of material. And to the reel, we attach a backing. Now the backing material serves one purpose, is it extends the length of our line, because the line itself is generally only about 35 to 40 feet long.
Okay.
So you need, if you get a really big fish, they can take 30 feet of line out pretty quick. So the backing keeps them from running away with your line.
Okay.
And of course, to the backing, we do attach a fly line. They come in several types. There's a floating fly line, and there's a sinking fly line, and then the intermediate ones in between.
Okay.
I usually tell people when they start out to buy a floating weight forward line, because it's easier to cast than some of the other ones that are on the market.
Okay.
Once you've got those two things done, then you'll attach what we call a leader. Now they come in various lengths, they come in various sizes. This happens to be a typical one I would use when I'd go trout fishing or pan fishing. But usually 7, 8, 9 feet long, something along that line. And you attach that to the end of the fly line. And then to the end of your leader, you would attach what we call tippet material. Now this tippet material is what we call the waste part. You don't want to be replacing this or tying it on every time you lose a fish. You'll lose some flies.
Yeah.
So we put this material on, and if the fish breaks off, he's not breaking the leader, he's breaking the tippet.
So I'm going to need to get a lot of that, apparently.
You do. And that comes in various sizes and weights too, depending on the type of fishing you're doing.
Okay.
And then lastly, you need some flies. This is an assortment of various kinds, but every fly fisherman will have a whole vest full of different kinds of flies
Sure.
for whatever they're fishing
Sure.
for. And depending on the weather conditions, depending on the species of fish, these will vary from different kinds of flies that are available on the market.
Deal. Well, you've got some other things out here. I'm guessing these are what you would consider your essentials.
Yeah, they will. These are things you need to get started. It's confusing at first. That's why you need a buddy to help you. You need a mentor. They also have some pretty good combinations that you can buy to get started. It has everything you need. This one happens to be one of the more inexpensive ones. But I was telling you, one of my best rods that I use today is one of the first ones. It's a $35 rod. It works as good as those $200, $300 ones that are out there.
Well, that's more my speed right there.
But it'll have everything to get you started.
Okay. Well, good. And you know, I'm reading the label on this thing, magnetic tippet threader.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most intimidating part of this for me, is trying to see that little tiny eyelet on that hook to thread it.
This happens to be a product that was invented not too many years ago for people like me. Can't see very well, and you need all kinds of aids. This little device, you can put your fly right down in the little groove here, and then just pass your fly line or your tippet through a little slot, and it threads it for you every time. Perfect every time.
Well,
it's worth
perfect.
its weight in gold.
Yeah, mark me down for one of those for sure.
And you know, you mentioned gadgets. If you're hard of sight, or you can't see close up really good in those tight spots, they have these little clip-ons that magnify. So right there at streamside, you can get really close.
I noticed Jeff was using one of those today.
I find that very, very helpful.
That's great.
And of course, one of the most important pieces of equipment that you need to invest in is a good pair of polarized sunglasses. Glasses do two things. One, they protect your eyes when you're throwing that fly back and forth.
Yeah.
You don't have something protecting your eyes, you could get that hook in there. Number two, cutting the glare off the water, particularly on a trout stream, allows you to actually see the fish in the water that you're fishing to. So,
well, that's kind of cheating, isn't it?
absolutely not. It's not like somebody's tying them on there.
That's
for you.
right.
But the most important piece of equipment, obviously you don't want to get wet, so you'll buy yourself a good pair of waders. They come in all sizes, all shapes, all price ranges. But I recommend the ones that don't have the boots already built into them. But you need to get yourself a reliable pair of wading shoes or wading boots. It's a safety concern. Those rocks are slick. If you're going to be in rivers, if you're going to be along the edge of ponds or lakes where the slime and the moss build up, you want something to anchor your feet down really good. So a good pair of shoes, don't skimp on that. That's what you should spend some money on.
Well, I knew that I came to the right guy to get me started. Thanks a lot, David.
You're welcome.
We'll be back with more with David right after this week's Outdoor News Report. Well, David, I've got to tell you that you have inspired me to give fly fishing a try. I can't wait.
Good.
You've got me all set up with the basics of what I need to know. But the most important thing is after you get the equipment, you got to have a place to go.
Well, that's right. And there are plenty of places to go, especially, we usually think of going to the big trout stream or to the big popular lake at the state park or something like that. But there's a lot of places very close to home. You can find that in our regs, the fishing regs that the department puts out, but a lot of good close to home fishing opportunities to catch all kinds of fish. I have several places I go here in town, Kids Lake, Lake Hefner, a few of the ponds in the neighborhoods around, and there's just all kinds of little places to catch fish all year round.
Well, and I've actually even been filming kids at DeLisi in the wintertime when Bank First helps us stock the pond with trout. So you're right, there's no excuse, is there?
No. And just about any kind of fish that will eat natural insects of some sort will eat a fly. I've caught bluegill, I've caught catfish, crappie, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, and all the different species of trout. Gar will even take a fly.
Well, if you've watched Outdoor Oklahoma for a while, if you're a regular viewer, you know that we kind of sometimes go after the unusual too. We've done shows on carp fly fishing and stripers on Texoma even. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities, and I'm getting excited about fishing season rolling around and giving fly fishing a try.
Me too.
So I got to ask you, have you ever figured out how to catch a paddlefish on a fly rod?
No, but if it can be done, I'll figure it out. I'll tie a plankton fly or something.
There you go. Well, David, thanks a lot for joining me and inspiring me. I hope if you take anything away from today's show, it's the importance that we see in taking the time to instill your passion for the outdoors in the next generation. Whether that's a friend, a coworker, or a family member, that's the absolute necessary ingredient is your willingness to be a mentor.
Yeah. Find a buddy, get out there, try fly fishing.
That's great. We know if you want to find out more about close to home fishing in Oklahoma or other ways to connect with us at the Wildlife Department, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. For all of us at your Wildlife Department, I'm Todd Craighead, and for David Sutherland, we'll see you next time somewhere new on Outdoor Oklahoma.